Good morning. It is March 31st, and this is the Neuro-Affirming Conversation Hour for Outreach and Support. I am Dr. Hazlett. I am your host, and this is Nachos for March 31st, 2025. And this is pre-recorded. I am recording this Sunday morning because I am taking my wife and kid on a little museum trip. So we're going to go visit some museums. It is their first day of spring break. So we're taking Monday to go to some museums. Yeah, we're enjoying a little bit of the culture. So I won't be able to respond to comments in real time, but I will be probably watching along with you at the hotel, because I'm up. I don't know if my girls are yet. So this is March 31st Nachos, and we're kind of looking at a little theme of boiling water, boiling potatoes, and boiling up some possibilities. Today, if you don't know, is National Tater Day. So March 31st, 2025, National Tater Day. And I'm really glad that you guys are here, whether you're tuning in from a busy day or a quiet moment of rest. This space is for you exactly as you are. Let's start today with a quote that feels especially grounding on National Tater Day. The same boiling water that softens the potato hardens the egg. It's what you're made of, not the circumstances. And so on National Tater Day, because this is a day that may not seem like a fun food holiday, it's a perfect metaphor for what we do here at Nachos. We celebrate the idea that everyone in every brain and every body is shaped by some experience in a beautiful and unique way. And sometimes we are softened in that heat. And sometimes we are firmed up. Neither is wrong, and both are valid. So today, as we stir our way through science, story, and self-care, let's explore how we grow, survive, and thrive, even under pressure. So what's in the news? New research suggests that the human body may be capable of living up to 120 to 150 years. Researchers at Tilburg and Erasmus universities in the Netherlands have analyzed 30 years of data with approximately 75,000 deaths to determine that the maximum human lifespan and what it could be. Their findings suggest that the upper limit is 115.7 years for women and 114.1 years for men. And despite the increase in the average life expectancy, the age of the oldest individual has remained stable over the past 3 decades. So this indicates a potential biological limit to the human lifespan. This study employed extreme value theory, and that's a statistical method used to assess rare events. And it reached the conclusion that we could live up to 125 to 150 years old. And if you think about it, that's a lot of birthdays and a lot of chapters in our books, right? But there's a question. If we could live that long, what kind of life would we really want to be living? And here at Nachos, we believe that a long life is only meaningful if it is also a supported one where neurodivergent folks aren't burned out trying to keep up with the systems that weren't designed for them. A life with rest, connection, purpose, and room to grow, no matter how long we get to live it. So I don't care if you have 120 bad years. I'll take 20 good ones. So much like a potato slowly simmering to perfection, our lives are built layer by layer, not rushed, not compared, just cooked at the pace we need. In other research, found that humans and Labrador retrievers share a gene mutation linked to weight gain. Researchers at the University of Cambridge have identified a genetic variation in Labrador retrievers that predispose them to obesity. This variant, found in the DENND1B gene, is associated with increased body fat and heightened food motivation in these dogs. Notably, similar genetic variants have been linked to obesity in humans. suggesting a shared genetic influence of weight gain between the two species. And while genetics play a significant role, the study emphasizes that both dogs and humans with these variants can manage their weight effectively through strict diet and exercise regimes. And while that's, an adorable scientific twist, it also reveals something serious. A lot of what we carry physically, emotionally, genetically is something not that we choose, but something that is chosen for us by the environment or the boiling water. Right? So let's take a moment here and remember that your body is not a reflection of your morality or your worth. Your brain is not a reflection of your morality and your worth. It's not lazy. It's not broken. It's just responding to the inputs that it's given. And just like our minds, our bodies are complex systems trying to do their best, just like you are. I know I am, just trying to do my best. So this research invites us to replace shame with compassion and maybe to honor our hunger and our softness the same way we honor our strength. Thank you, Norman. And if you hear snoring in the background, that's Norman. He's snoozing away over there, just sawing logs. So everybody say hi, Norman, in the chat. I'll know that you were here this week, and we can give him a little bit of love. So hi, Norman. That will be your participation this week. I'll cancel your question, and you can simply just say hi, Norman. Let me know that you were here. So this is more research, and it's looking at the hard steps theory. Okay, so scientists now believe that intelligent life may be more common across the universe than we previously thought. This recent research challenges the long-standing hard steps theory, which posits that the emergence of intelligent life is a rare event requiring a numerous improbable evolutionary milestones. Instead, scientists propose that the development of complex intelligent life may be a predictable outcome on planets with suitable conditions. This perspective suggests that, quote, given the right environmental factors, such as temperatures, nutrient availability, and atmospheric condition, end quote, intelligent life could evolve relatively rapidly once these conditions are met. This implies that Earth-like planets with similar evolutionary trajectories might also host intelligent life, making such occurrences more common in the universe than previously thought. And right here on Earth, if you think about it, we're still trying to figure out what the hell we're doing. And some of the research has revealed that Neanderthals and humans weren't so separate. And we weren't always battling it out. We were entwined. And we talked a little bit about this last week. But recent research conducted at the Teshemet Cave reveals that Homo sapiens and Neanderthals in the Levant region interacted more extensively than previously believed. This is published in the Nature Human Behavior journal, and it examined the stone tools, hunting strategies, and social behaviors, finding that the two groups shared. And it found that they shared technologies, customs, to the extent to which their habitation sites were almost indistinguishable. So they had a hard time distinguishing between Homo sapien and Homo neanderthalis sites, right? And so culturally, they had become kind of one group. An anthropologist from Tel Aviv University noted that instead of competing for resources, these populations exchanged knowledge, technology, and even genes. The evidence suggests a complex relationship between Homo sapiens and Neanderthals involving significant cultural and genetic integration. They shared ideas, they built relationships, and they even had children together. And we know this because there's a 28,000-year-old Lapido child who carried both lineages. The discovery of the 28,000-year-old Lapido child, whose skeleton shows both Neanderthal and human features, challenges the idea that evolution is purely driven by dominance and competition. Instead, it highlights the role of cooperation and interbreeding in human history. The mixed ancestry suggests that Homo sapiens and Neanderthals didn't just compete. They lived together, they shared culture, and they exchanged genes. So this supports a broader view of human evolution. It's not survival of the fittest. It is survival of the friendliest. And it's not about conquest. It's about collaboration and connection. Evolution, as it turns out, is not about dominance or survival or being the fittest. It's about interdependence. It's about connection. And for those of us navigating life as neurodivergent individuals, that matters to us because our value isn't on how independent we can be. It's on how we show up for each other. It's how we share our tools, and it's how we adapt and grow together. Some more studies are showing that chimpanzees build cultures, passing down behaviors from generation to generation. Recent research indicates that chimpanzees exhibit behaviors suggesting early forms of cumulative cultural evolution. And this was previously only prescribed to humans. Studies have observed chimpanzees using complex, sequential tool sets for tasks like extracting termites. And it implies that these behaviors are learned and refined over generations. They are learning and doing it better. Female chimpanzees play a crucial role in this cultural transmission by migrating between communities upon reaching sexual maturity, and therefore they introduce and spread new behaviors, technologies, tools, and ideas. This patterns human cultural development. It's a mirror, almost a direct mirror, where the accumulation and the sharing of knowledge across generations led to increasingly complex practices. And largely that was because of people, women, moving off into other tribes and groups and sharing that knowledge. Because anyone knows that if you have married a smart woman, which most of them are, she's taught you a thing or two. And I know I've learned some wonderful things from my wife that now are just part of our culture as a family. And so that's just the natural way in which things go. And so if chimps can have culture, then so can you. Your favorite STEM toy is culture. Your Discord group where you unmask and are your true self, that's culture. Your potato recipes?
Potatoes.
Yes. Your potato recipes?
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Your journal entries, and even your neurodivergent friend groups where you meet to play Minecraft. That's culture. You don't need permission to be valid. You don't need a museum or an exhibit to prove your culture, and you don't need academic articles to prove that you're valid. Culture is not defined by mainstream visibility. It's created in the spaces where we feel safe to be ourselves. So let's go back to that opening quote one more time.
You don't have any friends.
Oh, geez.
What's taters, huh?
What is taters? And I do have friends, Gollum. The same boiling water that softens the potato hardens the egg. It's what you're made of, not the circumstances. So you, dear listener, are made of strength, and you're made of softness. You are made of ancient resilience, and you are made of future hope. You are not fragile because you feel deeply, and you are not weak because you need rest. And you certainly are not alone. So if you really kind of contemplate what we've talked about and you think about this week, I want you to ask yourself, what am I cooking up in the heat of my life? What part of my life needs to be hardened? What part of me needs to be softened? What part could be made different by my environment? Because I think we are all worthy, even in the simmer. We're enough in the stew. We're enough if we're mashed, if we're fried, if we're overcooked. Even if we're sprouting new plants from underneath the cabinet in that forgotten bag of potatoes that you bought 6 months ago, those are worthy potatoes too. And if you don't believe me, Just do that science thing that we did back in the day where you cut them up and you put them in the water, and you can take that one potato and grow so many more from it. So the one that you can't eat, you can eat in the future. So just like our ancestors, just like our cosmic cousins, and just like the chimps and the Labrador retrievers and the late night potato munchers everywhere,
Potatoes.
you're part of something bigger. You matter. And so this week, carrying that forward into April, I want you to remember that you matter. And April is very important for a lot of us in this community because it's autism awareness, autism acceptance. Some of us even call it Autism Empowerment Month. And this is the month where we get to say unabashedly, we're here, we're not going anywhere, and you can't cure who we are at the core. You can help us. You can help us help ourselves. But you're not going to fix something that is part of how we see the world and how we perceive our reality and our space within it. And so as we go and leave March and move into April, I remind you in 2 weeks, there is a lecture on Henry Ford's campus. And in 2 weeks, there is a lecture at the Genesee District Library in Flint. There is a virtual lecture at the end of the month. I'll be speaking at the Autism International Conference or Autism International Summit. So I please, if you can, check it out. Learn something this month, this coming month about autism. And at the bare minimum, offer someone a little bit of grace regardless of their neurotype. Extend to someone else the grace that you want someone to extend to you. And if you do that, you will be honoring Autism Acceptance / Awareness / Empowerment Month. So with that, I leave you, and I will tell you, even though I am now currently filming this in Michigan, where I will be when you're seeing this, I say hello from Pittsburgh. I will see you next week for the next nachos. And we'll be talking about the final project for this class, which is finding a barrier and making the world more accessible in a very, very small way. So we're going to be looking at micro accommodations and the way in which we can make the world a better place. I will be grading this last project in the coming week or two and have those grades posted for you very, very shortly. So with that, I wish you all a wonderful week. And remember that self-care is an act of revolution. Joy is an act of resistance. And you've got this. All right? You've got this.